I just want to take a minute or two here to explain the course that I'm working on and why I'm making it a blended course. The course is Literature 118, Early English Literature through the Age of Johnson, which would take it up to about the year 1750 or so. So English Literature to 1750. And why I'm making it a blended course is because I want to show the applicability of this course to the modern era, right? The world we live in and why we should be reading and studying this literature. We can begin to see this connection through this info pic that I created about Beowulf. It's designed to, I hopefully think it's going to generate excitement about this class. What we have on the left here is a quote from Beowulf, mainly that it's just going to identify the idea of avenging, and it is better to avenge dear ones than to indulge in mourning. Right, that's the idea from Beowulf, and what I'm trying to do with this info pick is connect it to that history. And here's the Sutton Hoo helmet that was discovered, I think, in the 1970s, but it is circa the 7th century, so early 1600s. I want the students to see that connection to the history here. And to further solidify the connection between the history, the literature, and our modern understanding, I have this infographic. And essentially, it's an advertisement, right, for this class. Why should we study early English literature? And as I present it to the students, I want them to understand that it still matters, that our ideas of language and culture and how the English language can connect us as a culture, right? The culture is founded through language, but not exclusively, right? But how does that English language affect and shape culture, and what effects do we still see today? What is it? This literature. What does this literature show us about duty in society, and how we are to act in this society? And that can include morality, not just what's right and wrong, but more so what's good and what's evil, and how this literature constructs power. What strains of that do we see still today? One of the bigger ideas I want to focus on is the idea and the theme of love and marriage and how that shifts through the literature that we'll be reading. I want to look at how race is explored and contrast that with how race is essentially used in today's society. And then I want to, as we transition out towards the end of this early British literature kind of era, we hit the Enlightenment. I want students to think about that big shift that takes us into a more modern era through the Enlightenment. Essentially, that is the start of our own country, the United States, about that same time. Um, yeah, and then there's the advertisement for it, and I want them to take Literature 118. So, in short, here, the idea is to take and make this one Literature 118 a blended class so that we can bring this literature closer to the students, that they can identify it with it, they can identify it with it more, and hopefully infuse technology into their understanding and their learning so that they can show that they can see that this literature is still a viable way to gain knowledge and connect to one another and build their understanding as they make their way through this world.